Like you had a lot of guys targeted that you would like to draft, considering some of the trades that you made. Is that true that there were some guys you really wanted to get?
Well, I think there was grouping of guys, and once we were just a little concerned that as we went throughout the draft, there's certain guys that we did want to target. I think that was the flexibility we had with some of having multiple sort of late round picks that we could move around a little bit there, and certainly happy with the balance that we ended up with the draft over the last 2 days.
You got your goal achieved of taking another goalie?
Yep.
You had to be happy about that, I assume.
No, without a doubt, we were happy. As you know, in the goalie market, it's always the question of when do you take him, where do you take him, and we understand with Eric, he's a longer term project for sure, but we have some intel in Frolanda with some people. Plus, he is committed to go to University of Michigan. We have some intel there too. And the great thing about it is there's certainly the situation of watching him on the ice. Then we had the opportunity for him to come to our combine in Buffalo, interact with him there, and that's why we felt very comfortable selecting him there.
Do you want him to go to Michigan?
I think Dubuque has his rights.
Yeah,
Is the
so
plan for him to go to
the
Michigan?
plan right now, no, obviously plans can always change, but the plan is to go in the USHL, and as I talked to you about before, he is a longer term project, so we're very on board of him going to Dubuque and then eventually making the step to the NCAA.
You know Zach was here?
We did not know, and obviously when we made the selection, you hear the cheer, you're like, oh, that's interesting, but no, happy for him. But again, here is a young man who you have the on-ice evaluation. It's always great to interview them, but he did come to Buffalo again and worked with our guys there, and just have a better comfort for him, for sure.
What do you like about Buglen that made it the pick where you wanted to move up and get a kid like that with that skill set?
Because he scored the Mike Legg goal, that's the only reason why. No, I think he's a young man who definitely has a lot of hockey sense and a lot of skill, and it is a recurring theme. But you're drafting 18-year-old and 19-year-old kids. It's a longer development plan with him, and he hasn't been at, say, the USA development program and some of these higher end leagues. There's a lot of work for him to be done off ice to physically mature to be a National Hockey League player. But the skill, the hockey sense is something that certainly attracted us. And then interact with him, just the determination to take the right steps to become an NHL player.
Jason, what's it like in the scout GM community when that video gets passed around?
I think there's a wow factor just because it happened in such a big tournament too. But then I don't think there's really too much of a reaction beyond that.
Just a goal.
It's just a goal, exactly.
Have you been impressed by just the organization your scouting staff has had on the second day of the draft the last couple of years? You guys have done a nice job, it seems, getting value at the picks you've had and getting players who, as you've said, the development curve is where you really want it to be.
No, we've been very happy in the last 2 days. We've been very happy, as I talked to you, I think yesterday, about the last couple of months, just how they've handled themselves in the meetings and the preparation for the draft. Look, when you're evaluating these kids over such a wide range of the globe, and debating a kid in Minnesota high school versus a kid playing in the Swedish elite league, it's very difficult, and it's always intriguing to see winners and losers 24 hours after the draft. With these kids, you're not going to see it 5-6 years down the road, but we're very happy with the people that we brought in. We're very happy with the character and the determination and drive of the players that we have brought in, and I think that's just something that we've talked to our amateur staff a lot. There's the on-ice skill, there's the hockey sense elements that we want, but then you want to make sure that we're giving our development staff, our coaches in Rochester, players that understand that there's still a big step to get to the National Hockey League.
Speaking of winners and losers, you're trying to move into the playoffs, battling teams in a similar spot. What's your reaction in New Jersey now, having Jack Hughes as the number one pick and having PK Subban, a team that you're certainly got to be eyeing to try to get in with?
No, they've had a lot. And look, you look at last year was a difficult year with them from an injury standpoint with Taylor Hall, so you add that to the mix there too. So, and you've seen it across. We've talked a lot about it over the last few drafts. The top picks have come to the Eastern Conference. It continues to be loaded up there. Obviously, we were very fortunate to get Rasmus last year, but a lot of our Eastern competitors are also getting high-end talent. And then look, over the next week here, whether it's through trades or started free agency, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and that's, teams are going to improve themselves, and that's why we have to continue to look at all avenues here.
As you mentioned, getting help for the top line is the main goal here in the summer. Do you have a position you want to go to first? Do you need a center more than a right winger or a left winger, or what are you really targeting?
Well, I think with most of our guys, look, we have some players that have the flexibility to move around, and that's what we've talked a lot. If we can find players that have the versatility to move within the lineup, you're just giving Ralph more options as things progress, because I think you always have a plan going into the season, but how chemistry works through injuries, you just want to have that versatility as much as possible.
Is Sam one of those players who can give you versatility and possibly play down the middle? I know you tried in the past, but...
Look, it's always a possibility there. You have to be open to it, and we'll see how things go with Ralph and that discussion. But I also think over the last, say, year or so, he's excelled on the wing, and I think he's in a position where he can drive a line from the wing. You've seen that a lot in the National Hockey League. There's certainly the focus on center, but some of the higher-end skilled players are driving lines from the wing.
What did it mean to you organizationally to have Sam here, to welcome Cousins, to have Jack on the horn? I mean, what kind of statements do those make?
I think it's just a sign of our younger players excited about where our organization is going in the future, and wanting to be a part of it. And I enjoyed interacting with Sam over in Slovakia more with Team Canada. Coming here this week, he reached out to me late last week. It was a great opportunity. Ralph, the Pagulas, myself, and the management group had dinner with him on I believe it was Wednesday night, and then he certainly wanted to be around here to bring the newest member into the organization. So the fact that it was Dylan, a Western kid too, I think was great to see. And I think just over the last couple of years, you talked about Jack, but specifically Sam, like the communication with coaches, management, he's really tried to take a step, and you're seeing that with his training now throughout the season too.
With the injury to Luukkonen, how are you going to approach the goaltending depth? You're going to have to get a couple of guys from Rochester because he might not be ready. We don't know. How are you going to approach the depth?
Well, especially, I think we have to be very patient with Luukkonen with this injury. It's a situation of you got to put a time frame on when he's going to be ready, but also he's not going to have the strong summer of training. So it is a little bit of a setback, but we had to look at the bigger picture for him for sure. So we will look. We feel very comfortable with our two goalies in the National Hockey League. We have Jonas come, be in a situation where we think he can help out Rochester. But yeah, we'll certainly be looking to try to find, especially as technically a number 3 goalie to add to the organization.
I know in your day 2 picks, you always say it's the long-term development for them. What's your ideal calendar for guys like that? Not necessarily this class, but in general.
Unfortunately, that's just too difficult to think. All that you're looking for through all these guys is the improvement from year to year. And I think one of the kids that we'll see this upcoming week in development camp, a guy like Laxonen, when I drafted it was probably even more further out in projection than now. But the fact that he continues to get better, did we ever think that when we drafted him that he'd be in a situation winning a gold medal at World Juniors 2 years later? No. Well, but he's taken the steps there. Now he still have things to go, but I think he's ramped up his time frame, and that's all you're looking for all these guys is to try to, every year that they're improving, try to work on a lot of their weaknesses, and for a lot of them, it's just physical maturity, physical strength, and then that's what you're trying to help them out, and that's the goal of our development staff and our performance staff, to help them.
As you're talking about players at the draft table, in the end, which one of you has the final say in, all right, this is going to be the guy? Is it you?
Well, ultimately, it's myself because I'm the general manager, but I think if you look closely at our table, there's always communication going on. And it's Ryan Jankowski is leading the charge from our amateur side, and he was working very closely with Randy Sexton on just how list management and how it's done. But they're the ones who've watched the games all year, and you want to certainly be in the meetings, interacting with them, and you certainly want to get viewings on players, but you have to trust them. That's their job. And I think when you get to the draft table, it's just a matter of a little bit of list management on, hey, what's going on, what's the feel for the draft? Do you think we can move up? That's when management comes in a little bit more.
You've used the draft the last 2 years to set the stage for trades.
Yep.
How would you characterize this year in terms of the amount of discussion? Is it about the same? Is it more? What's it been like?
Like I would probably say it's more, but whether that leads to the next step, is anyone's belief. But I think just the fact that there's so much parity in the National Hockey League. I've talked about it numerous times, and you have teams that probably were eliminated or didn't even make the playoffs, but certainly eliminated in the first round, who had Stanley Cup expectations. And then also too, you with the salary cap situation, there's a lot of things in flux from that standpoint. So we'll see how the next week progresses, and I think it's a little different this year with July 1st being a little further out from the draft. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of rumors and plenty of discussion for the next week here.
We've seen a lot of the highlights, obviously, in the organization, but there might be some free agents out there that have not. How do you sell this organization to people in the coming week here?
Well, I think there's always it's always a job of management and coaches to sell what we're trying to create in Buffalo, what we're trying to bring. But the best selling point I've always talked about is our players. And you hopefully see the talent. I think players in the National Hockey League see the young talent that we have, whether it's Jack, Sam, Rasmus. I think hopefully by us stepping up and signing Jeff Skinner shows that we're going to reward players who want to be a part of things in here in Buffalo. So I think that mix is hopefully attractive to other players out there. And we certainly demonstrated start of the year what we can accomplish. Now it's us to take the next step to do it over a course of 82 games.